Audio check, audio check. Good morning, everybody. Pedro and I will be with you shortly. Good morning, everybody. Pedro and I will be with you in just a moment here.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Oh my goodness, I'm dying over here. Man, I love the Puget Sound. I miss Seattle.
Here we go, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen.
Tell me that you cast up, I'll pass you a flask full of jack love at last. I'm at peace with this vast blood. Only took a crash landing down in the trash mud to figure out why.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from, welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in this great digital media universe. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show. And the man in the box next to me is Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. And today is July 7th, 2025. And I know that day because it's my birthday today. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am the birthday boy. Hats off. Confetti in the air, make room for the old guy in the retirement home, because I'm coming in. My reservation at the Maple Knoll establishment will be filled soon enough. But not until we make fat stacks of cash here on DYOR Live, trading Bitcoin, trading crude oil, Nasdaq, gold, copper, even live cattle, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving the cattle around. Well, at least Pedro Garcia is. Ladies and gentlemen, Pedro Garcia, what is happening this morning?
Not much, man. It is a beautiful day, man. It is glorious today. The markets were kind of stagnant. Was kind of waiting for them to move here, and we started really showing some weakness coming in at the beginning of the 11 o'clock hour. So I said to myself, all right, here we go. Let's see what happens. And sure enough, we went up. We came, tapped. Give me 1 second.
Oh, I totally don't have your screen up.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
I was just saying, what's up? And how's your weekend, my friend?
Oh, it was good, man. It was really good. Really was doing a lot of kind of networking for the DYOR network.
Ah.
Made a couple of connections with some people. Kind of excited. also another media guy who really likes our setup platform. And he's just like, yeah, dude, I would connect with you guys, definitely. And he's got some pretty big guys on his network that he brings in DeFi. And so I was kind of excited because I was like, wow, this thing's gonna get going. So I'm excited. Also, I chilled on Sunday, didn't do much, just kind of hung out and just chilled. It was really interesting. A lot of the fireworks around here. There was
Oh,
a
they're
lot of
crazy
rain.
here.
Oh yeah, what was it like over there? Because it was rainy over here.
Oh, it was. Hold on, let me just finish typing this one. Welcome everyone. Here in Chicago, fireworks are still illegal. You know, one of those states. But right across the border in Indiana, it's like as soon as you cross the border, there's massive fireworks buildings. Shelton's manufacturing fireworks is like the size of 10 Dallas Cowboy stadiums.
Oh, wow.
So everybody's got tons of stuff, and they got all the good stuff now. And what the city does is they're like, all right, we got it. Everyone's gonna light fireworks off. So they encourage people to do it in the city parks. All the neighborhoods have parks.
Oh, nice.
And they stick a fire truck out there.
Smart.
And just say, all right, go at it. And get, it's better for you guys to be blasting this stuff off than warehousing them in your house and having it blow up. And so we did that, and I walked with Mrs. Striking down to the local park down here, and it was like a little mini festival atmosphere. There was the usual people get together in this park they do this massive drum circle. Have you ever seen those live? Where 50 people bring drums and instruments, and
Yes.
basically it's a Grateful Dead type thing, and then there was the people twirling the flames, sticks, and all this type of stuff, and
Those always freak me out.
people on stilts and shit and all that kind of stuff. But then everyone was lighting off their homemade fireworks. And some people had some serious stuff. I mean, big stuff. And Mrs. Striking, the Canadian, wasn't that into the fireworks thing. She's like,
What?
She's like, these are dangerous. I was like, oh yeah, this shit's really dangerous. And she's like, let's go stand. Let's go stand over there. I'm like, no, we got to be closer to it here, right? And she's like, no, let's go stand over there. I was like, yes, boss.
Oh my goodness, man. Canadians, dog.
Yeah, they're not. They didn't grow up. I grew up having bottle rocket wars, which we'd light bottle rockets and throw them at each other.
Throw it at each other. Yes.
We'd wear our baseball helmets and our ski goggles, and
your parents would be like, "Don't hurt yourself."
Oh, my parents would have been rip shit if they found out. Mom, Dad, hope you're not watching in today's show.
Things you didn't know.
My dad's like, I wonder what happened to all those bottle rockets. I bought like 3 gross of them, and they're all missing. I was like,
oh, your dad knew exactly.
They knew everything.
Days, bro.
They knew everything. Anyway, so it was a good weekend. We had some fun. Fireworks cooked off like crazy, and had a nice weekend. That was essentially one long birthday prep celebration weekend. So today's my birthday. Went out for breakfast with the missus, and came back to start the show a little late because I forgot I was in the Central Time Zone again.
That's all good. It is all good. It is good. Really interesting. While you're sending that stuff out, Bitcoin was doing something really interesting over the weekend. We saw some okay volume kind of come in on Sunday at the market open here, which was the 6 o'clock open, which is what we see with the CME. And you can see how we kind of saw a pickup here more so. I was actually kind of impressed because I was like, here we go. Like, okay, not that bad. I mean, especially for a night open, you know what I'm saying? I was like, that's actually fairly good, comparatively to what we've seen. So I said, all right, here we go. We're going up first thing in the morning. I expected to come down into the afternoon. Sure enough, that's exactly what we saw. We came in. You saw that we put in definitely some seller wicks right here. Look at those big old seller wicks. And that's what she said.
No, I was waiting for it.
Sorry. And so you can see here we got right below the moving average at 8, and look at it right. You saw a pickup in seller volume right here, and this thing said, "Let's go on down." And so that's what we've seen here. And now where are we going? I think it So on Friday, we came down to our area here on Friday, where we came down, bounced up, and kind of coming back down. But as I always say, if we can't make that higher high, then we're going down to create a lower low, and so or a equal low. Consolidation. But most likely this thing is coming down and we're going to be tapping. I thought we might tap this here into the weekend, but we didn't. I don't think that this one will hold, but nice little play. So if anybody took hold of that play here, congratulations. You made a decent amount of money here. But I think we're going to blow through this one. So we're going to eliminate that and put the next one in. So let's post that here real quick. Now, and additionally to that, one of the things I always talk about is liquidity points. So on Friday, we had a nice little low here. As you can see, I'm going to point that on the daily. So we should see some form of, come on. We should see, or I think that was Thursday. Yeah, Friday, my bad. You can see, so we should hit some liquidity area here. So I'm going to remove that. We're going to grab this one right here. I'm going to put it right here. And I expect to see some form of liquidity hit. So again, this is one of those plays that we're not looking to capture all day. This is a quick 1-to-1, boom. How much money do we take out, Tom, on these 1-to-1s?
100%. It's one.
Yes. First target, how much are we taking?
Oh, 60 to 70%.
Exactly. And then what we do is we try to see if we can capture the last little bit. We do not let this trade come back and retest our stops. Okay. This is the trade. We go in, we make money. That's it. This is just to simply build up your coffer down so you can have more liquidity to play with. Because liquidity runs the world. It does. It is not the absence of money, but a plethoraness of money that allows things. Yeah, that's Pedroism right there.
Word of the day, ladies and gentlemen, and it's brand spanking new.
Brand new, literally right off of the mouths of Pedro's. Not just mouth, but mouths. All right, so there you go, mouths, in new forms. All right, so this is where we're gonna look. If we see if it comes back down, we just want to take some quick cash and get out. But remember, that is all in relationship to, we want to first see it get above the moving average, show it with volume, and then we want to see a pickup. Just like I took the short on the S&P 500 here real quick. I can show that here. Boom. So
great graphics machine, no worko.
No worko. Oh, that's a sad day. All right, guys. So this is what it was. So here is my trade this morning that I took a part of. You can see here that we were putting some seller wicks right here on my morning trade. Right, we went up. I wasn't having this.
Sorry, Pedro. What time frame is this?
This is the 5-minute on the ES, the S&P 500.
S&P 500.
Yeah, and so you can see here that we were coming down, right? I expected us to come down because we went up from the evening. So you can see here we came down, we came back up, created a new high here. So I said I expect us then to go lower because they pushed it up in the morning, right? And so now you can see here, I'd say, all right, let's wait for this.
That's definitely lower.
Yeah. Yep. And so I said we didn't really see an increase in volume here of the buyers. And then this was the telltale sign of, here's the big Mariposa candle, sell off. Okay. And then you can see that it over encompassed the actual previous 5-minute candles. And so I said, all right, well, I want to see it be convicted that it's going to keep continuing down. And so what I did is I said, I need to see seller candles. So this really wasn't the seller candle I was looking for. This is one you could have taken, right? Because we're establishing orders here. And then you can see here, though, this area where all of a sudden I go, ooh, nice. And so let's follow this. You can see the pickup in volume right here. And you can see how we're putting the seller wicks right at these levels here. And I said to myself, you know what?
If everyone's selling, I might as well get on the train with them before the FOMO people kick in.
Yep, so you can see here that you saw the increase in sellers stepping in right here. And then you can see here, the volume on the buy candles wasn't really that big. And so I sat there while we're putting in seller wicks. I said, I should go down. So I waited till around 11 o'clock right here because I want to take part in this. So you can see right here, I saw an increase in sellers and I said, all right, boom. So I took it short. My stop was right out these levels here, right above here. And I said, we should see this thing continue down. And that's what we saw. So again, I don't jump into these plays just like I have a game plan. I know what I'm looking for. I have an edge that I use, right? Many of you, I've told you I use moving averages, but you can use whatever edge you decide. Tom has Fibonacci as well as he uses
Moving averages.
moving averages. But then I know other people who use the VWAP. I know other people who use the Bollinger Band. I know other people who use fair value gaps, right? Who trade, right? That's their edge. They understand it. And so the key point is to make sure you have played out your trade and you understand it at a level so that you're not sitting there going guesswork, right? And if it isn't doing what you think it's going to do, that means you have more work to put in to understand your trading style. And so that's where I always say, what's the most important thing in the trade? It is your journaling. Why you got into that trade, why you decided to go long and short, and then where you're putting your stop. And then make sure you journal that so that you can get a deeper understanding in the market and what's actually happening. All right, guys. So let's check out what's happening for the week. As for reports coming out. Oh, what's up, buddy? Go ahead.
That didn't work out right. I got the I turned the great graphics machine on, and all it did was blank everything out.
Ooh,
Let's turn that off, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know how to do that. That button. That was a disaster.
You want to know something I started messing with? I can't believe that this whole entire time on my health journey, I just discovered pumpkin seeds.
Oh,
My goodness.
my goodness, there might not be anything worse.
You don't like pumpkin seeds? How come?
Taste.
Oh, I love them. I don't know why. It's like a buttery, like.
Hey, I have a feeling 20 minutes from now, Pedro's going to be like, all right, Tom, I want you to go over some news here for a minute while I get a bio break.
I've been messing with these all week, dude. I got to admit, I feel like I'm thinking quicker. You know? I got to, like, seriously. Like, I'm like, am I thinking quicker? No way. That's not. I mean, everybody knows I'm basically the dullest light in the closet over here.
The dimmest bulb.
Yep.
Pedro, speak highly of yourself. You're getting all these viewers rich out here. Speaking of viewers, what do we got going on here today, ladies and gentlemen?
I know.
Haven't looked at the great comment machine yet. Oh, it's quite quiet indeed.
Yes.
Well, I know that the graphics machine isn't working that well. Confirmed. We are live. We are live. We are alive, and we are live. Let's see. Let's see what the studio here. I haven't been paying attention to studio. Well, welcome everybody watching this on Rumble. I really appreciate it. As always, Rumble's been very good to us. We are part of the Rumble Creator Program once again, and they've thrown a new stat that we have to have every month.
What is it?
We have to have 20 unique chatters. We have 20 viewers that need to do something like this. Tick, 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 click. And so I ask all of you that are watching to drop us a comment here to get our numbers up. We've got 5 unique chatters this month, and we need some more. And I'm sure many of you are watching without a Rumble account. And many of you do not know that Rumble is free. That's right. You can join and pay $99 or get the special when we read their ad. What happened there? Click that join and register button. Click join or register, whatever it is. You can use your Google or Facebook login and log into Rumble and give us a like. and drop a comment. That's how this works, ladies and gentlemen. It's an interactive show because we interact with you. That's right. Is Pedro back? Yeah, he's all sideways.
Yes.
Get all crazy.
Am I good now?
I'm not sure what happened there.
Oh, no. That's weird.
Oh, and there's some weird delay, too.
Sorry about that. I had a call that came in, and I just had to pick it up real quick. Normally, the individual doesn't call me, so...
I think your phone, you need to turn your phone or something.
No, I know what's going on. I'm going to have to pull out here real quick.
That's what she said.
No, you don't want her to pull out. That's a scary thing. That's what he said, maybe. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
hey, what's going on
definitely
back
not
there? God damn it.
All right, let's go ahead. I gotta see what's
All
going
right,
on.
ladies and gentlemen, like I once again said, thank you everybody for watching here on Rumble. If any of you guys are coming here from our link on Truth Social or Blue Sky, let me know. Let me know. I'd like to know if that works at all. Anyway, while Pedro's doing that, make sure everybody to like, subscribe, follow our little show here. It's growing. Pedro is of the opinion that it's about to explode, our show. I shouldn't say opinion.
Yes.
Pedro and I both know it's going to explode. His opinion is that it's about to explode today or tomorrow or the next day.
I wouldn't say today. I say soon because,
Soon.
well, just the connections that we are developing and
This is a good thing.
yeah, and the people that we are.
But so we want all of you to know that you were in here at the beginning. You know that speaks. I gotta figure out these emoji things that other streamers use. That people can get next to their name, like I've been a subscriber for 1 month or 2 months, or I'm an OG or something like that.
We do. We need something like that. I think that would be really cool.
I'm gonna put us back on the main page until you get sorted out here. Oh, look at that. That pricing thing is all jacked up.
There we go.
Anyway, the big beautiful bill passed on Friday. There's Pedro. And basically America is pretty split right down the middle. That it's either good, as it is in politics right now. It's split basically right down the middle, and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Personally, I think it's a good thing because it got the tax code ironed out and essentially kept what was going on. It keeps the middle class taxes lower. Everybody says, "Oh my God, it's just benefiting the billionaires." Actually, the largest tax cut it was for the middle class, and people think that middle class means you're earning $50,000 a year. The poverty line in the United States is $44,000 now. For a family, I think it's $26,000 for an individual or something like that. That's the official poverty line, but it's obviously. But so middle class is up to $200,000 now, even though they say that's the top 1% or
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. 200,000 doesn't get you the massive house in the suburbs like it used to. But anyway, and so the tax implications are vast, especially for manufacturing. The depreciation schedules that are allowed to stay in place, where essentially companies can write off capital expenses in the first year now. So companies that invest $100 million in something, the day they turn that machine on, they get a $100 million tax credit. And so that's a big incentive to build those machines. So that's a good thing. There's weird stuff in there, like defunding pregnancy, advice about pregnancy and that kind of stuff, and they now have an official term for a woman, and that is people that have the equipment to give birth. It's officially a woman. So government straightened that out and made a lot of people mad about it because they thought just by cutting something off that they were, and so we'll just not worry about that anymore. But there's some weird stuff in the bill. I get it. The spending over time could increase our debt, but it could not. Also, it's possible that it could, but it also, if the growth happens as predicted, it will take care of that.
Also,
So it's oh
they
sorry, go
got
ahead,
it.
Pedro.
Also, they cut in Medicare as well, um, and
Yeah,
they
they
take
did.
away a
They
lot.
well, they didn't just gut it. They said, and I agree with this, but the way they did it, I don't agree with it. The states need to be more responsible for their own Medicare, and I get that. And the federal government should be more of a kind of an oversight thing to make sure states are doing it kind of fairly. Shouldn't be the primary funder of it. And so I get the concept that they want to shift that back to the states. And a lot of people get Medicare that shouldn't. Like there's a lot. I mean, and everyone over the age of 65, no matter what your income, is eligible for it. And so insurance companies don't offer the full insurance that health insurance they should. Because now, the health insurance companies can't deny someone based on pre-existing conditions. So they before when you got old, they just say, oh, we're not taking you because you're old, you're going to get sick. But now they have to take you. And everybody across the insurance world pays the rates. That's what insurance is. Everyone bears the same rate to insure the masses. And so I disagree with the way they just did it, but they do need to get the wealthy people off of Medicare. And so I agree with that. But underfunding kids programs and stuff like that's kind of what the government's supposed to do.
Yeah, there's like 3 things we want them to do. Take care of the border. Don't be dumb. 1. 2. Hey, if we need to go to war, you can rally money. Great. 3, and this is 4 quadrants. Take care of the widow, take care of the orphan, right? Like the person who really is just destitute and can't move. Like literally, if the government wasn't there, he'd be on the street begging.
Right.
Like, and I'm not talking the guy who's sitting there saying, hey, we'll
work for beer.
Yeah, we're talking about the person who's literally crippled, can't do much. And I say crippled, I mean crippled and blind. And even then, I mean, Helen Keller killed it. Forgive me, that was terrible. So horrible. But I mean this because like she still did awesome. She, now granted she's like a 1 in a billion. She's like, amazing. But that idea though was pretty simple that we want the government to do a couple things, but everything else,
someone needs to be the last resort for and society picks up the place in almost everything you can think of. There's an organization like filling the gap, but occasionally, especially with the mentally ill and those that can't take care of themselves, there's not enough of them, and the government needs to do it because that's why we have it. It provides a service that nobody else can or will, and it does it for us. One of the things that we did a long time ago, we've discussed this probably many times, is in the 80s, in order to pay for, more defense, when the Soviet Union was still raging, we had to eviscerated the mental health budgets, and we used to have all those, essentially asylums and sanitariums. They were big, beautiful places, had staff, had all this type of stuff. And there wasn't as big a homeless problem because we had those places. Now we have massive homeless problem because we closed all those places. We shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, but I think also there's been individual companies out there that have taken on the rally cry to help secure that, and states have gone and really tried to like take care of people who have TBI, ABI, who are maybe DSPs. Also that take care of people with
got
autism.
VD at Mickey D's in DC. I don't know what the hell you just said.
I'm talking about industry entities that take care of people with special needs, and allows people with special needs to have a caring individual to take care of them while they're in a house that is suitable for people with it's not, and these aren't people who are crazy. These are just people who have autism, people who have other issues, like they were in a bad car accident and they cannot remember. Everybody loves the movie 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler, right? When he woos Lucy like 100 times because she keeps forgetting that she likes him, right? Her brain would literally go through and she would forget. And on the back end, what's up, baby Draco, over there at over on
YouTube.
YouTube. Good to have you, man. Hey, we want you to, baby Draco. I want you to go and do me a favor. I want you to go.
He's watching on his TV.
I know, but he can pull out his phone. Pull out your phone, bro. I'm telling you can do this. Go on to Rumble, and create a profile. And I just want you just to simply come in and say what's up to us every day. So it's just simple saying, hey, it's good to see you, brother. What's up? And then you go back.
We need 20 unique chatters per month. Not 20 new ones, but it's the same 20 every month. But we need at least 20 different people chatting with us on Rumble so we can stay in their creator program.
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking you to do us a huge favor, my friend, and do that. Also, tell your clients about us. That'd be dope. But apart from that, let's go ahead and move forward here. So I think those little small details are important because I don't, places like asylums, why can't I say that? Insane asylums. They used to put people who had, remember one who flew over the cuckoo nest. One who flew over the cuckoo's nest. Why is that so hard for me to say? With Jack Nicholson. There was a movie that was in the 70s, and there were people that would put into these asylums, insane asylums, that just did not belong. There were people who typically had autism or people who had ABIs and TBIs who literally just couldn't remember, right? And so a humane way of helping them out was that states, when they got rid of the insane asylums and the government agencies taking care of that, what happened was states picked up the slack and really started helping out with homes that were humane and allowed them many people who had autism or people who had TBI or ABI issues, and that's traumatic brain injuries or acquired brain injuries. These are.
I was wondering what.
Oh, TBIs and ABIs.
Excuse me. That's when I said got VD and Mickey D's in DC. It's an old idiot joke, but I was like, well, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, brother.
Yeah, but these are some of the state entities that I think need to be handled state, because the U.S. government is just a wide, broad, sweeping hand. That when it paints, it everything's white, whereas the states can individualize many of the healthcare systems that specify towards that state. So, I mean, there are a lot of people. I think it's 1 in 28 now, 1 in 30 children that have autism. I think that's the number. I mean, and they used to put all those kids in insane asylums. I mean, it sounds horrible.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, they would just put them, and then they would, the orderlies, if anybody's ever worked with somebody who had autism, they have certain peculiar situations that they kind of get freaked out about, and you've got to work with them. One of my foster moms worked a lot with kids and autism, and that's where she got her specialty at. And so our kids who had learning disabilities, i.e. me right here, right? So that's why I sit there and say, hey, like I'm for that, but I just, to see the money pull away and go into other things. I would rather, if you were going to take that money, put it into paying off the debt. And this is where I think Elon Musk is very much upset. He's really upset about, look, you had me come in. I literally have billions of dollars getting destroyed on my business, plus my name was tarnished. And now you basically just slap me in the face saying, yeah, what you did doesn't matter. We're just gonna override that. And I have a hard time with this, because it's like, you ask this man who literally spent almost a quarter of this year, trying to help you out, and you just blew him off. And I think that's kind of, I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on that? Because a part of me is frustrated over this.
Well, I wanted to break that conversation up with a little bit of good news I just learned.
All right.
While you were talking, I was creating another Rumble account, because I have Rumble is It's a work account. It's under a work email. So I was creating a personal one. And it says, let us know your interests. And it makes you choose 3 categories: news, gambling, sports, podcasts, politics, whatever. And I chose finance and crypto as the first one. They combined finance and crypto. And it says, and so I clicked that, and it says, here are some creators you may like. Pick some of them. We are the first one. We're the first one they recommend on Rumble. Higher up than Wendy O. And Grant Cardone, The Rich Dad Show, Rubin Report, Coin Stories, Bitcoin.com. we got recommended before all of them. So I am going to click that button to follow. So I thought, sorry to interrupt your long and thoughtful story with that, but I'm sitting here looking at that going, this is so awesome. And now, see, ladies and gentlemen, what I have done is I've created an account on Rumble in which I can now go, hey, everyone. Look at that. Now we have a new unique chatter, and it didn't come up on the graphics machine. Why not? There it is. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so sorry, Pedro. If you'd like to re-ask your question of me, feel free. Oh, and there's baby Draco. It was my first interest. You guys came up first. So he found out too. Thank you, Draco. Really appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Pedro, if you're talking, you're on mute.
How does that happen? I don't even know. I literally hit it with my hand. It's like the most frustrating thing.
I don't even know where I don't even know where you stopped, where you went on mute, because I was rambling.
I was wondering why you're interrupting. I was like, man, I guess he doesn't want me to talk. Okay, cool. All right, I gotta let you just let. Now,
all I know is that you weren't talking, and so I just said, well, I'll.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. I was like, man, I must have pissed him off. I don't know what I did. Sorry, dude. But obviously I didn't, because I'm the only guy over here with the big thumbs accidentally hitting my thing. Yeah, that doesn't sound smart. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I think what was so interesting is this idea that we need to do something for America. We need to get back to the day in which that, and this sounds so cliche to sit there and say this, but we got to get back to the day where that idea that ask not what you can, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. But really for your children's children, it's really got to come back down to like, do you want, and partly in doing that, we've got to come back to that point where we got to build for ourselves. And when the government oversteps their boundary, we got to hold their feet to the fire. We've got to do something where it's not just about you taking money to your constituents and helping out your district, but how does this work? Because we literally got 10 more years. We have 10 more years and we're done as a nation. We are done. We will be about 200+% of our GDP. There's a lot of stipulation in regards to the money and the restructuring of the business status to the big beautiful bill. And what's scary is that we know that you have to have major deregulation right now to really get this thing up and running. I keep talking about how our businesses are slowing down, that they are now hiring. Last week we went over, jobs were great, right? But the reality is, I said something's wrong. And when you looked at when you went and dug into it, government, state jobs and local municipalities jobs increased, but private sector jobs actually decreased. And I keep saying this at a major point, where it's like, that has to flip. And many of the people that we hired, remember, we pulled up government employees, and where did we see a drop in government employees? No. It actually went down. I think 2 jobs that we actually
Yep.
saw, and the reality is the majority of those government jobs got picked up on the state side, and so everything still is being. You have now. What's going to happen is you're going to have a ballooning state problem, right?
I know, I can see
And
this coming.
and a government and then a state increase in taxes, which is going to hurt you even more, right? And so this is where nothing's really stopping here. It's all the same. And then what happens when that state gets overblown? It goes to the federal government saying, hey, we're about to go belly up. We need you to step in. And then what happens? I keep seeing a white dot. Is that me?
A
Yeah,
white
that is
dot?
Yeah, on my face. I do not know what that is.
Oh, I do. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. And so there's this idea that it's like we got to do something about it, because if we do not do something about this, the government at large, as we know, will not be the government. And so we need to figure out a way where we can actually balance. And so this is why I keep bringing up that that Trump has to create a system where he's going to be able to create real private jobs. He's got to bring those jobs into America, and those got to be at a point where they've got to grow and allow money to flow into the economy to see things get up and go. Because if we don't, we will see it's not if, but when we see a crash, and it's going to be bad. I mean, and so it's just going to be one of those moments that we'll see what happens as we move forward. But I'm at a point where we're at a point where if the government doesn't figure out a way to stop spending, then we're gone. Like, we're gone in 10 years. Like, just absolutely. There's no, because the reality is we are accruing about $1 trillion of, $1 trillion every 90 days on our debt.
It's crazy.
Yes, like right now it's 97 trillion, or excuse me, $37 trillion as of today. Last week I talked about we just hit it. In 90 days, that's going to be not like 0.5. It's literally going to be $38 trillion. And then the faster we keep adding on, the quicker that increases even faster. It's like a snowball effect, and it will pick up to a point where we get demolished. So it's got to stop. We've got to figure out a way. And so whatever that looks like, even to the point where it's like, okay, if America's got to slow down in a sense, pick up the slack, you know what I'm saying? Like foster care. I'm trying to think what else was really, wherever this money that's being bloated, where we're just seeing it go, we've got to figure out a way to rein it in. Because if we don't, 10 years.
I figured out why your short candles led you to the road of going short, and why the market blasted down.
Oh, why?
Because Mr. Trump opened his mouth.
Yeah. What did he say?
Taxes, tariffs on China, tariffs on Japan and South Korea, and Canada announced retaliatory tariffs also, and just an all-out disaster. Every time he opens his mouth and says more tariffs, market tanks, and then when he says we've solved the problem or come to an agreement, market rebounds. And so the word was getting out, so people were selling that he was going to make that announcement. And then he did make the announcement, and the market just ripped down. Oh, well. But it's volatility, as they say. All is good for volatility. Your screen has... Pedro, you probably can't even hear me anymore, can you? Your screen share has... that feeds your audio.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, your screen share or screen feed disappeared for a little bit, and that carries your audio feed.
I got you. All right, yeah. I know why. Okay.
JBee Draco says the commercial properties in the San Francisco area are empty. And they should be. They should be empty because San Francisco has been a classic case of let's do exactly the wrong thing. let's do the wrong thing to encourage investment. And that's allow more crime, to let people live wherever they want. Obviously, there's a homeless problem. But letting them live wherever they want and not clean up on the streets and make the place look awful is not the right thing. A great example here in Chicago. When I first lived in Chicago, you didn't want to live west of a certain street. You just didn't want to live west of that because it just wasn't conducive to your safety. And over the years, that street that you don't want to live west of has been moving west at a speed and width. But what kicked off the gentrification, Pedro, is when the city passed a law saying you had to have any graffiti removed off of your property within 24 hours. If someone tagged your fence or a pole on your yard or your tree or your house or your garage door, you had 24 hours to do it, or the city would come by and do it for you. And they only had two colors of paint. They had light brown and light blue. And so you either got, or white. They got three colors. They had white. So if your house was white or your property was white, you got the white paint. If it was anything else, you got light brown or blue. And it looked better than graffiti. But what happened once you removed the graffiti from the neighborhood, people moved in. Nothing else changed. People didn't change. People moved in just because the neighborhood looked better. And then they fixed up houses. And then they gentrified that neighborhood. And then the crime moved further west. And then the neighborhoods went all the way, you can live very far west now in the city before you run into serious crime. Until you get to Austin. Then, whew. And so appearances matter. Appearances matter, and San Francisco blew it by letting the appearance not matter. Mrs. Strike and I went to Vancouver. There are some streets there which the city just gave up. They just said, screw it. We're progressive people. It's people who are homeless and want to do drugs. It's fine. But they don't enforce the laws. They don't enforce the no loitering law, and they don't do city services like clean up the litter.
That just blows me away.
And so they all of a sudden they lose by being progressive. What they lose is millions of dollars in taxes from that whole city block because the property value goes to zero. People can't, like 2 blocks over, an acre in Vancouver will go for $100 million. On this one block, they can't even sell the properties. They can't even give them away because every square inch of the sidewalk is crack addicts or meth and fentanyl addicts, which is a huge problem in its own. But it shouldn't be the problem of this. The city shouldn't allow something that devalues it. It should spend the money to correct the problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got off on a little tangent talking about the one big beautiful bill while the market was tanking. Let's see here. They try to do that here they try to match your color. Chicago goes, you get light blue or brown, whatever you got, light blue or brown. And if it's brick, they'll sandblast it. If it's a hard surface, they'll sandblast it. Yeah, and you could get fined for it here too. Chicago was the first one. If someone challenged them in court, they always dropped the case because they didn't want it to get ruled unconstitutional or something like that.
And then they would get screwed overall, and then they couldn't even do it, which is interesting because they understood that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
right.
The part that I think that's the part that kind of even, again, the city politics, the state politics, is that they know they're in the wrong, and they're going to see how far they can push something until somebody does stand up, and it actually it's frustrating, but it's almost. And the part that's scary is that people will keep that up, right? They will keep it going as much as possible until people get just fed up. Just the idea with the state of Texas, when they were saying stop letting in a lot of these immigrants, how finally they had to send in their National Guard, and then finally the government was like, what? You can't do that. We're the ones who hold that. And then 26 other states stood up and said, we will back Texas, and we will come in with our National Guard if you're going to send the U.S. military in, and then we're going to have a civil war. And then the Biden Kamala
Disaster team.
disaster team, or just smartly ran how to destroy America team back down. That's what I was trying to That's what I was trying to get kicked out of. I was like, I couldn't even get it. Anyways, but the idea behind it was this: is that frustrates me, and this happens primarily in a lot of, I hate to say it, but blue states, and it's frustrating because they just don't care.
Pedro, you know what?
What's
Sorry, but I think I need some more coffee.
Yes.
I think I better really needing some 1775 coffee. I need a good laser focus. You know, that's what I need, Pedro. With no crash. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you still not tried 1775 coffee, now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. Pedro, it's just like Bitcoin. It's scarce. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and the vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash. No. All single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. Plus, you're also getting, this is where the good stuff comes in, a gold spoon clip. Why? Because freedom isn't served with plastic. Nope. I should say freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee, and your mother-in-law's political opinions. That must be some strong stuff. You also get a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. No. $170 worth of coffee and gear. Yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler! It is worth it. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something. Just like Rumble does. Start your day with a coffee that actually backs what you believe in. Just like Rumble. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 1775coffee.com/studio. Grab your starter kit. Also, right here, pointing to this URL, QR code, take you to their website. Please, if you're a viewer, click it for us and show our advertisers that our viewers are interested in 1775 coffee. So thank you to them. Thank you, 1775 coffee. And one of you guys, 1775, is watching. Send me some coffee, because I can't buy it anymore,
Yes.
that I can use. I'll put that as a product placement here. Boop.
Same here.
Right.
This guy right here.
I'll send it to Pedro. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Remember, in your comment section, there is a description and a link, and in the body of wherever you are watching this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much to 1775 Coffee.
Thank you very much. All right.
I think your your connection's fading again, sir.
It's this week, okay?
Pedro, you there?
Yep, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're, yep, you there? Hello.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I gotta take care of this here real quick. As I opened up something here and that took way too much.
Yeah, I could tell. I saw your little meter here on the studio software just go beep, and that's not what she said.
Well played.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this great show today. Really appreciate it. Talking about, we started off today talking about Bitcoin and the markets and how they were doing what Pedro thought they were supposed to do this morning, and he saw some short indicators. And those short indicators turned out to be the president's mouth. And he talked about tariffs going up for countries again. And every time he starts talking about tariffs, it throws off the markets. If I don't, either people know what he's going to say and they're front running him.
Exactly.
whole family. And so he does this to give the volatility to the market. And if you know which way the market's going to go, you can make, endless amounts of money. Or he just doesn't realize how much simple statements of his screw up the market. And now we all say volatility is good. But when it has outside influences like that you can't plan on. I mean, let me rephrase. People do plan on that now. And so you keep your Trump tweet feed open to make sure,
Yes, you do.
that type of stuff. But it throws off all the other actual financial indicators. It's like you're watching moving averages, you're watching this, you're watching volume, you're watching blah, 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 this kind of stuff. But you have to watch someone's mouth. And you're like, oh, I could see once a year or something, a speech comes out or something. But literally every second you got to be ready. That man only sleeps 2 hours a night or something crazy like that. So you got to be like this on your feeds. Like, did he say something? Did he say he's going to say something? He's going to say something. And you got sometimes people think they got an hour of free trading after he tweets. They're like, okay, he's tweeted. Now we got at least an hour or nothing's going to. And then he just bombs them. Boom, 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 boom. And you're like, no.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, for me, I'm realizing it was clear that the market was going to go down here because we shot up. And so once we pass the equilibrium area so let's talk about what we're going to see coming up this week for reports and what's going to be happening. And we've talked about how job reports have definitely throughout Biden's administration as well as Trump's administration been not correctly handled and saying, oh, we have a great jobs report. But the reality is private sector jobs are dropping and government jobs are again picking back up, but more of a state and municipality area. So this is really important to understand. We want to pay attention to this stuff because we're seeing a slowdown and the job market is weakening. It is softening, right? And we're still seeing prices starting to go up a little, right, in regards to what we're seeing with inflation. The biggest part behind it, when again, we've talked about this now a couple times where we talk about the things that feed us, those things that they eat are going up. And so those are the things we need to pay attention to as we keep moving forward. I keep bringing up, if we keep seeing this happen, then we're going to see some catastrophic situations. We've talked about job reports. We've also talked about the housing reports out there that keep talking about, oh, right, they're playing around with the interest rates and how we're seeing these houses being sold because they're not in a traditional loan. They're being what do you use the word carfunkled with? Right.
That word will suffice, Pedro.
All right, there we go. All right, so we've got on so Monday and Tuesday we really don't got anything going on for reports. When you look at it, you got, I think Tuesday, I believe it's the Fed meetings, but that's not like the Fed speaking, right? That's not Jerome Powell speaking.
Right.
It's two different things. The here you go, it's Wednesday. You have the FOMC meeting minutes, which isn't really going to be much. Then you have Thursday. Now Thursday, you actually have the initial jobless claims. And so we should see some major movements here going on with that. But ultimately, I would expect to see, now they're expecting us to see an increase in jobs, right? Or increase in jobless reports, which means that more people are going to be added jobs, right? People who have less jobs is what there's going to be. Now, the biggest key that we want to sit there and see is we want to see this less in the private sector area and more in the government area, right? The key, and I keep hitting home on this, is that Trump needs to bring and get all that red tape out of the building of these plants so that we can get workers starting to get up and running again, get managers that can step into those people who used to, who are very skilled at it, and we can see these manufacturing jobs get up and going. It's going to be really, really interesting here. And that's really what we have to see. That's really what we have to see. We'll see what happens though. So we'll be paying attention to Thursday. The market will most likely, if we see a sellout for the week, then expect maybe a potential rise on Wednesday evening. Um, so we'll see what happens here, though. But everybody kind of knows what's happening overall in the market, that it's weak. We don't have a strong economy. And no matter what the news people say, no matter how they say it, it's not, because private sector jobs are not increasing, and we're not seeing the pay kind of increase based off of production.
Hmm.
If it increases because of inflation, that's a different mindset. It's not a pay increase, right? That's just keeping you up. But if we're seeing pay increase with, and this is real important, with production, because that company is doing well, then that is a significant indicator in the market to sit there and say, hey, look, this is important to pay attention to. This is real growth. So that's what we're looking for. It's really what we're looking for here. And I hope the big beautiful bill stimulates real growth.
I do too. It's counting on it. If it doesn't, the debt will explode.
We're
And
dead.
not only it'll explode from lack of collections, but it'll also explode because social programs will need to increase. Because that's what happens when people lose jobs. Unemployment claims go up. Society has all sorts of other problems that government has to spend money on, like drug problems and alcoholism, and that's what happens when the economy goes in the tank. But if it grows, we grow our way right out of it. Which is it isn't a far-fetched thing. We could grow very easily. We do. We are growing. Growing is slowing. We don't want it to start sinking. But we need to start making more stuff. We can't just provide more services. We can't say, oh, everyone go out and start a new service. There's only so many people consuming services. There's only so many people that need legal services, unless you go out and cause 1 million traffic accidents. And so we need to make things that we would otherwise buy from other countries. Or, obviously you can onshore some services too. I'm sure we outsource a lot of things to other countries that are services too. But the point being is we want that super bang for our buck, and that's via manufacturing. And we shall see if El Presidente can do it.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens overall within the market. It's interesting. There are a lot of major institutions that are deleveraging, and we're watching it kind of slowly happen. So my hopes is that we're going to see a pickup in real usage, where if this is how you know that big beautiful bill will start to work, is that we start to see institutions really start to buy and handle a lot of treasuries, as well as wanting to buy into the market. Instead of deleverage, they're willing to leverage even more because they're more bullish. Now when you look at the increase in what we're seeing in the market, we're seeing an overbloat in stocks. We're seeing a lot of evaluations be higher, like 50x a multiple, 100x, or I wouldn't say 100x, but I think the highest I've seen is 83x multiple on a stock. That in itself is partly because there's really no place to put their money, and so they have to put it in these high-tech stocks, because one, that they can actually be absorbed, but on the back end also, like they've got to put their money to work somehow. And so we'll probably see bigger evaluations of the market push up if we do see that big beautiful bill really pick up. And that's what I'm looking at from a market standpoint, is that I'm looking to own assets. And I always tell everybody, look, owning assets is really simple. It's just buying the stock market. And one of the things you can do, or I think crypto is an asset. And what you can do is you can buy in buckets. You can join, we need to get a connection with crypto.com. But in that same sense, we can sit there and plug. They have a bucket where they can go through and you can buy the top 10, the top 20 cryptos, the top 30 cryptos in cryptocurrencies that are basically rated best in the industry. And you can take part in that money that's being made there. But on the back end, you need to buy assets. You need to buy things that are going to accrue and increase in value as inflation happens. I think we could see a deflationary situation happens, which would even be better for us because you can buy things on the cheap. But we'll find out as we continue. Well, here's the thing. So if we have a deflationary aspect, what would happen is you would see the debt kind of skyrocket, but I think you would see people invest into the United States even more because that means that it's cheaper to actually build there. So like let's say it would normally cost you $100 million to set up a factory. Now it costs you 75 mil. And in a few months, if not years, you could see a huge increase, right? So this is where you have this balance that could happen, right? Whereas, I know we're having a little kerfuffle with.
You got the word now.
Yeah, kerfuffle. We're having a little kerfuffle with Japan, but in the same sense, it's like, where else are they going to go? They can go to China. They can go to a lot of their Eastern friends. But ultimately, who's the one who can absorb their economy? And that's us.
Well,
and so
they got themselves in a little kerfuffle, as you would say, or as I would say, by being so
as you would say,
insulated and not letting they've been very protectionist there. They're protectionist. It's difficult to go open companies there. It's difficult to just be an American and try to manage a Japanese business because the culture just doesn't work. I should rephrase it. Doesn't work together. It clearly works for Japan because they are an amazingly productive group. But they need to get their act together. If they're going to play in the world, they got to live by the world's standards, and that is a little bit more open. I mean, even the U.S. is trying to become more protectionist with tariffs, but still, as compared to Japan, it's ridiculous. I mean, all those Asian countries are very protective, because they did the same thing. They need ways to raise money because their tax. Well, Japan's very good at tax collection, but many of those Asian countries are not. It's rife with fraud. Anyway, we need to settle the problem with Japan because Japan now owns our steel industry.
Yes, they do.
I mean, they just bought U.S. Steel. They own Gary, Indiana. Good luck with that one, guys. Wait till the company plane comes and lands in Gary. Oh man, the smell.
Bro, it is really ghetto.
Every time we drive through the town. I've been there. I've taken a piss on the side of Gary Roosevelt High School on one drunken evening. First time I ever said that in public. It's a long time ago, as they say. It's a terrible place. It's just awful, and they can't. It's a very beautiful place. At one point in its history, it was very beautiful, but it's got this eyesore on the lake that is the dirtiest, disgusting steel mill I've ever seen in my life, and it just nobody will move there that wants to invest any money. So I mean, the only thing that's come out of there is U.S. Steel and Michael Jackson. That's it. Well, and all the Jacksons, I should say. But you've been there?
Yeah. Yes. The song, I traveled, across the country multiple times. And the music meant Gary, Indiana. Yeah. Right? I was like, oh, there's Gary, Indiana. Let's go check that place out. Nah, bro.
No.
That was silly. I should have.
Well, it's funny. My whatever play that was in
Music Man.
My younger cousin. Actually, it's my cousin's kid, my second cousin. At age like 8 or something, they did that play, and he was the one singing Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana. And then so he performed it for us when we were all together. And I said his name, I won't say his name, but we'll just call him Jim. I said, hey, Jimmy, do you know what Gary, Indiana is? Where it is or what it's like? My cousin's going to work. Now, Tom, let's not ruin this for him. Well, just imagine the day he finds out. Actually, I had a good friend from college who became a police officer in Gary, Indiana. He was from northern Indiana. And the Gary Police Department just rips through officers. They just can't keep them. And he's a gentleman of European descent, as they say. And I said, what the hell are you doing being a policeman there? He goes, he essentially, the term was different then, but he was a DEI hire. He's a white guy.
That is funny, dude.
It's funny. Now he's an FBI agent. He said, yeah. They said, oh, you've worked there? All right, you got all the skills we need. Come on. He said, yeah, I've done the shooting. I've been shot at. I've been exposed to, fentanyl drugs and overdosed by examining drugs. I've done it all. They're like, come on in, you're good.
Isn't that funny? That's funny. I think one of the biggest things that we're looking at is, I hope that a lot of the programs, social programs that, what's the word I want to use, that celebrate that type of lifestyle. I feel like, I hope that goes away sooner or later, that like America wakes up and we can sit there and say, you know what, we're not helping ourselves here. Again, that's a big hope, but it can be a hope that can be genuine, and that we wake up, right? Like go back to, hey, it's, a bullet that kills a young girl because she happens to be a bystander.
Sorry, our side-by-side interview panel disappeared for some reason. I upgraded my software this morning. A new version came out, and it botched a couple of the scenes. I restored it off a backup, and I was just happy that it just worked. It just worked. Anyway, we got a little off track here today, Pedro.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, let's go back to crypto.
But the theme of the day is Monday markets.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've started as a crypto-centric show and moving more into the day trading markets. And that involves the most liquid markets, because those are the best to trade. And the most liquid markets are gold, crude oil, the Nasdaq, Bitcoin,
the dollar.
Others. The dollar, yeah, that's liquid. That's liquid like eating too much bacon or pepperoni. It turns to liquid.
That's funny. That's actually funny.
Got to keep the entertainment value up high here.
Got it.
We can't be all boring like those people at CNBC and Bloomberg. And on an interesting tangent here, I should say, or a vignette. This morning, Mrs. Striking and I are having breakfast out for my birthday, and I hear a voice behind me. This voice, I'm like, I know this voice. Either it's someone I know. I mean, I know this voice very well. Someone I know, but I can't recognize, like we haven't seen each other in years or something, or a friend of my dad's, or because it's an older voice. I'm like, what is it? And it took me all the way till the end of breakfast because I couldn't just turn around and look at him. And it was the exact same voice as the main guy on Bloomberg's surveillance podcast. The older guy. It wasn't him because he was on the air in New York. But it was the exact same. He's kind of the guy on, I can't remember his name, but on Bloomberg, he's a heavy old man. So he has a way of talking and breathing at the same time. And he uses his body weight to collapse his lungs. It's that same voice. And then I remember it. And then when I left, I was like, oh, it's obviously not his brother or something like that. But the voice was exactamundo. Anyway,
that's funny. Right. It's all good. Well, it was interesting. The U.S. dollar is starting to see a little bit of a pickup here. And we got above the 8-period moving average. And so we've talked about this now taking this trade the opposite way. We're kind of waiting to see if it's going to get up and go. And the reason why is, and this is what I brought up on, I think, last Tuesday, is that as we really start to see tariff situation de-escalate and we start to see more of these deals come in, we should see then a pickup, a need for US dollars as we start to see people buying more dollars as a medium of exchange for through us. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. So we're already starting to see a little bit of a pickup here. The key point here is, and I talked about us going on that weekly we got to get above that weekly A period moving average with volume, and then we'll move forward. But these are just some of the things that we're looking at to see what's happening. Also, let's check out gold here, because gold was our crude oil first, and we'll go to gold. Crude oil here. This is the week. This was a couple weeks ago when Trump said, knock that crap off. And I said, expect to kind of pull back a little, but continue down into our lower areas here. So I'm still kind of waiting for that to happen. We're watching this push up at the beginning of this week for crude oil. So we know that if we see a push up in the beginning of the week, typically by the end of the week, we are going to be negative or for the week or just red. So I'm expecting to see that kind of happening. My biggest area to be paying attention to is that weekly 50 period moving average sitting right here. It's going to be our first retest. So it's going to be sitting kind of, we're going to be seeing that at 69.9 or $69.19 is what we're sitting right now, or where we're going to hit, I think. And right now we're sitting at 67.52. So that's about a 2 point. I expect maybe a potential pullback here towards the end of the week. When it comes to crude oil here, not crude oil. When it comes to gold, gold is had a really interesting week so far. We already put in a decent wick here of the sell-off. So this might be if Trump keeps acting crazy. And let me go ahead and take off our. And when I say crazy, I don't mean crazy. I mean he acts in a way where he wants to get his way, and so we could see it push up again in relationship to tariffs and increase in tariffs or some of them. But ultimately, I think we did put in the demand wick, so we could see this thing kind of come up. We got that supply area right here sitting at that 3413 to the 3400 area, and expect to see kind of a pullback from there. How far, I'm not exactly sure, but I think we could come up to there and then see it come back down. So it's going to be really interesting to really watch what happens on Thursday with the jobless report and see what happens that the correlation. So that we're kind of that's really going to be the main news for the week that we're probably going to be playing off of. So that's it in a nutshell. And I don't know why, but they've created this new thing, or maybe I hit it accidentally, but I am not. I can't just grab. All right. That's in a nutshell for that. Let's check out NVIDIA. NVIDIA has gained the top ranking again in regards to stocks. It's the king of the hill right now. And we're watching it play at that 159 area. I was really hoping to see NVIDIA come down to our 78, 75 area. It did come down to their 88 area. This was during the information that major tariffs were happening. This is that drop here. So it literally went from 150 or 153 all the way down to 80. So almost cut half of itself there. So real interesting. But that's about it for that. What is going on with crypto? What is going on with Bitcoin? Bitcoin is sitting here right now, kind of relaxing at these levels. We bounced off of that resist level here that we talked about right here over on Friday. We talked about us hitting that, and we've hit it now a couple times, and you can see it just kind of pulling back. So this is this area right here that we talked about, kind of coming up, pulling back. Was a nice little play there. Let's go ahead and take off that right there. Boom. So we're coming down here. We can see that on the hour, playing off of that hour 8 period moving average. And I'm expecting us to come down. So the way you would play this is really, you want to stay on the right side of your moving averages, whatever one, or right side of the trend. And so you can see it's really that 8 period moving average. And so I would make sure that I would get in as I pull back into this to continue down even further. And like I said, that's that 107, 470 area on the Bifinex BTC USD. So that's it in a nutshell when it comes to that.
Yeah, my apologies to everyone. Usually I have the graphics up telling you what Pedro's looking at and its market cap and all that type of stuff. And the great graphics machine isn't working today. It requires an API to various places to get information. And that API, el no worko. That's my Spanish for the day. El no worko.
El no worko.
And I got that from the movie Airplane, in which they were turning all the lights on to go sit down when they're starting to have problems in the air. They turn on the return to your seats, fasten seatbelts, and then the no smoking sign comes on, and they have it in Spanish, and it says El no smoko.
There you go. There you go.
And the fasten seatbelt in Spanish was go back and sit down.
Go down. You know what's interesting? A lot of the movies, I don't even really watch movies today, like the funny movies, because they're not even funny anymore. Like it's like they're all on the woke side. But I look forward to the day when you actually have real comedic movies again that you can sit there and just laugh and quote. The recent ones that I've seen, I'm just like, meh. I mean, when are we going to get back the days of just crude humor, funny humor, where we can make fun of each other and have fun at the same time, right? Looking forward to those days. So
I gotta tell you, I've always loved the slapstick comedy, like the Naked Gun type stuff.
Oh,
Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, did you hear the new one's coming out?
Yeah, and I know I'm gonna be disappointed because nobody
Yeah.
can do that humor. I mean, it's just the lines. They're so precious, and my dad never liked it. He never liked that style of humor. Just didn't get it till he got older, and now he laughs at it, cackles at it. He's like, now I see what you guys have been, I've been using all these lines on him for all these years. And he just doesn't get them. He doesn't get the cultural references. Now all of a sudden he's like, oh.
Gets it. He gets it. It was like the first time, you don't understand when all your friends are digging off of football, and then they're talking about, what do they call that? The draft. And then you start to pay attention. You're like, oh, I get it now. Yeah, all right.
Well, welcome to everyone watching us today. We've had a slower than usual day here, but it is, the summer doldrums here coming off a wonderful 4th of July weekend. And, of course, everyone's off celebrating my birthday today, so that's good. And also on the Rumble front, Pedro, they redid the categories. There's no longer a crypto category. They updated it to a finance and crypto category, so we're in it. And then there's a subcategory of stock market. But of all the programs streaming live on Rumble right now, we are the 3rd largest in the finance category. Right, at a smooth 14 people, I might add, or 16. Thank you, the 2 new ones that just joined us.
Yeah, I appreciate every one of you guys. Thank you. We're growing. I think we're about to explode here. I do. My gut typically is a pretty good gut. There are times where it's off.
It's
I'm
pretty
not gonna...
substantial. The way. Come on, man.
Why are you calling me a fatty?
You open that door and let me walk right into it. Well, Pedro, it's important. It's important that you keep your health in blockbuster condition.
Yes.
You know why?
Because
hey, everyone, are you tired of paying outrageous prices for your medications while other countries pay a fraction of the cost? President Trump just signed an executive order to fix this problem. But why wait? Blockbusterhealth.com is already offering Americans these savings right now. We're talking up to 80% off the same exact medications you're already taking. Same brands, same quality, just fair prices. Whether it's Ozempic, insulin, or any other prescription, Blockbuster Health connects you directly with licensed pharmacies that offer international pricing. No middlemen, no markup, just honest prices. So call 1-888-350-1353 or visit blockbusterhealth.com. Americans shouldn't have to choose between their health and their wallet. Check it out, blockbusterhealth.com. Call 1-888-350-1353 or blockbusterhealth.com. Like I said, Americans shouldn't have to choose between their health and their wallet. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to blockbusterhealth.com for sponsoring this segment of the show. And don't forget to click that QR code, or in your chat, there's now a comment. Go ahead and click that and visit their website and let them know that our viewers are interactive and interested in Blockbuster Health and getting better prescription prices. I'm going to give them a try, Pedro. I'm going to give them a try.
Are you?
Yeah, because I have one prescription that I have now and then, and I use another way of buying it that I won't mention. But I'll see if Blockbuster Health gives us much better prices, and I will report back. So thank you, Blockbuster Health, for your 6 cents.
Thank you for your 6 cents. Not to be confused with the other 6 cent.
The movie, 6 cents. I see dead.
I see
that threw me for a loop because I didn't see it coming. I should have.
Yeah.
I should have, and when you realize that whole time Bruce Willis's character was dead, all of a sudden the movie became crystal clear on what's going on. It was weird. You're like, I don't get it. It's just, it's depressing. And all of a sudden you're on the edge of your seat, like the old monster truck show line. We sold you the whole seat, but you will only use the edge.
That was, dude.
Mind blowing. When that little kid goes, I see dead people. And you get it. You're like, oh my God, it's dead. He's dead. That's right.
It makes sense. And because his wife ignores him. And
right.
Like, you're like, you don't even realize it. I think one of the part that I kind of started, like, as a kid, I don't want to sit there and say I knew. But I was like, I think he's dead.
I'll admit that I did not know. I didn't get it. Mrs. Striking is doing a strange dance over here, but I'll just... He periodically tries to make me laugh, and it works.
Ooh. Well, that's cool, man. The fact that...
Birthday dance, he just piped up in the corner.
Awesome. Well, that is an awesome Blossom situation. Dude, do you remember Blossom? Do you remember that show?
Pedro, today is my birthday, and if I told you the exact age, which is 57, by the way, you would know that Blossom was long past my time.
Okay. It was funny because I was actually talking with somebody today or over the weekend, and I brought up, a friend of mine was like, dude, are you gonna get all muscular again and like Don John white jacket? And I started laughing. I go, yeah, man, I might even buy the white shoes, man, and full on I've got them.
I've got the white shoes.
Yeah. I go, dude, I might slim up to the point where I could be like a Jersey boy again, man. Shoot, might cut the hair, get the fro hawk again. And he's like, dude, no. He's like, you're basically gonna look young and buff, but you're a 45-year-old man. And he's like 46-year-old old man. And I was like, man. That is so true. Then I'm gonna look like one of those guys. But so there's like this give and take, right? Like, I want to be healthy and fit, right? But I'm old now, so it's like it looks kind of creepy. But like, I don't sit there and try to like color my hair or whatever, right? Like, I'm not sitting there. And so it's hard to sit there and say. I mean, I want to. Go ahead. What's up?
I'm just gonna cut you right off right there and say that I gotta tell you. Women like it when a man's shoulders grow. Especially this one over here.
Yes, it is true.
I'm just telling you from experience. It works.
Well, it's the shoulder to hip ratio within a man. We need to be one. It was a 1.6 ratio. So, for example, like when I have a size 32 waist. Like it's
Had?
funny. Well, no, I'm actually down to about 33, 34 now, which is really crazy. And I still, I'm still fat. So it's like I'm looking at the going like I was like I might get back down to the 32. Dog, I took off 6. I have the belt that you have all the like holes in it, right? That go all the way back.
Yeah.
And so I started at 2, right? Like I had a little stub sticking out. And so I, started losing weight and all that stuff. I'm up to 6. I've lost 6 inches. I'm like sitting there going like, bruh, like
Bruh.
this is cool. Like this is really cool. But on the back end, I'm like, because it's the shoulder. So on a guy's ratio, there's a girl needs to be 0.7% from her top to her waist, right? It does something to our subconscious, and we
Who
go,
knew?
ooh,
Pedro's a man of science.
I know, right? Anyways, long story short, I've got broad shoulders. Yeah. Where's the gym? Is it that way? Anyways, me
Oh,
and
that
my
was excellent. That was excellent, ladies and gentlemen.
thank you. That what you get right here, people. You don't get anywhere else. We're the third top to watch video selection for crypto finance over here, and this is what you get. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Anyways, but jumping back here to the charts here. Actually news here because I want to bring this up, what I thought was really interesting. From a news standpoint.
Mikester will hit your XRP here in a minute.
Oh, what's up? Yeah, definitely. What's up, my peoples? Good to have you. All right, so you can see right here, which I think is really interesting, is that BTC, we should see it continue down. We have some big, massive seller wicks here. We're seeing a drop off in volume for sellers here, but I think your real liquidity is going to be right here at that 107, 470 area. And so with that said, when we look at XRP, my friend,
I'm sorry. What was the level on BTC that you said that you'd looking?
for liquidity, for buyer liquidity, about 107, 470. That's going to be Friday's low, and so that's this area right here. And again, this is a quick trade. This is just a quick trade. You're not trying now. If it continues up, then move your stop up, right? Like you want to see if it can keep continuing. But I want you to take 60 to 70% of the initial 1-to-1, and then it could continue higher. But again, we want to wait until we see an increase in volume. Once we get above the 8-period moving average, we put our stop below the low. Then we move it to the local low as it creates a new all-time high or a higher high. And so that's what we want to look to see as we move forward here. Let's check XRP here. Now, XRP is really looking interesting because we're still playing off of that 200-period moving average here, which acts as a major resistance in most times. Even maybe going sideways, I'd expect us to see at least hold here. Now, what was interesting is BNB over the weekend showed some pretty dramatic strength, which I was kind of shocked. We saw it kind of push up here on BNB, and it's getting above all the moving averages here. Now, what's holding it back is really this idea you have higher time frame supply here. But even then, I really do see BNB take off. And I think if we see BNB take off here, we could see a lot of the major coins there also take off. So I would pinpoint to we're going to be looking at some coins, some small cap coins over on BNB to kind of take advantage of potential plays here. Now, we know that the ledger has been getting a lot of attention, but in the same sense, they're not necessarily being there's not a lot of people jumping on it using it, which I thought was really interesting. Not to say that there isn't, but I'm just saying that in comparative to other blockchains, you're not seeing this mass adoption here. But on the back end, we could see it starting to pick up. Now, the biggest key here is we're seeing a pickup in volume, as you can see here. But this area here is what's going to be held. So it's got to push above that 20-period moving average with volume, and then see it come back down and play off of that. So that's what we're looking for XRP. If we see something like that and we start to see it come back and test above that 200 period as the 8 period continues up, that would be something that we would love to see. So yeah, that's about in a nutshell when it comes to XRP. When it comes down to Matic,
Wait, hold on. XRP, bullish or bearish?
well, I would say I'm bullish for now, literally because we're already starting to see BNB and as well as Ethereum kind of start to pick up in volume, right? And so that's where I'm sitting there going, if we see BNB pick up as well as a lot of the other top 10, then I would expect us to see an XRP push up. It's not, it is, it's conditional to, I was trying to say conjunctional, and I was like, that is not a word. It's conditional based off of,
Junction. What's
yeah,
your
con,
function?
conjunctional.
Moving
Anyways,
all the
so
chains you got.
so you can see here that I'm expecting this to see it go up, but it's got to get above this 800 or the 200 period moving average with volume here, and
That
that's what
200
I'm kind
moving
of waiting.
average is, in almost every contract you look at, is an
Yeah.
important indicator. And Mikester, if you're not paying attention to that one, please do so. Especially when it comes back after being above it for a while. When it comes back down below it, it can get, whatever you're trading can get quite volatile to the downside pretty quickly. And I don't really know why, other than probably a lot of people use that as an indicator, especially a lot of bots. And so they use it as a sell signal. And boy, like BTC, if it's been up for in whatever time period you're looking for, on your chart, it's been above that 200 period for a while. When it comes down below it, just whoosh, blush-ola. Like I said, normally I'd have the graphics machine up here giving you the important stats about what Pedro's going over. But the API isn't working today for some reason.
Yep. Well, that's about it on my end. 2 o'clock is coming up, and I know it's Tom's birthday. So happy birthday to the man who looks like he's 25 constantly.
I know. I am more than 225s. You can imagine that.
He's celebrating.
And Crypto Mike, I don't know if you're watching today or not. Usually you let us know if you are. I did go to the NASCAR race in downtown Chicago yesterday. I didn't go into the grounds and watch it from the stands. Striking Jr. was in there with one of his friends. But I went down with Striking at. My daughter and I rode down on my motorcycle and got as close as we could on the bike and then walked on foot. But you can get up, even if for not paying, you can get right up next to the wall on Michigan Avenue. And they would come zooming by. And I've been to NASCAR races before and watched the races from the pits. I watched one race from like Dale Earnhardt's pit, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit, literally in his pit with the guys, the tire changers. And that was pretty close to the race. And then my sister and I could walk up near another wall and get pretty close. But this is the closest I've been to the cars going by at full power. And the sound and the feeling in your chest is so awesome. You just like, my daughter was like this. She's like, oh my God, Dad, that was so awesome. Because there was a yellow flag, and so they all come rumbling by, 43 cars, however many there were, under the pace lap, all in one dig. And I'm sure we lost 6 or 7 years of our life from the toxic fumes coming out of all those exhaust pipes. But it was just amazing, just that, even though they're going slow. And then the next lap was green flag, and they come ripping around. And they come off of a curve where we were standing, off of because it's downtown Chicago, and then accelerate away from it. And all those cars under full power come by. It's one of those feelings you're like, I love being an American. Even though it has nothing to do, NASCAR is American, but car racing is, worldwide. And it was so awesome. And my daughter left as being a fan. She's like, oh, next year I want to go into the race and all that kind of stuff. We had a good time. So, Mike, yes, we did go down there. But I was fortunate enough once that I had NASCAR passes, like, but they're hard passes. And my sister and I actually, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the Chicagoland NASCAR race that year. It was out at a racetrack, not downtown. And we were in his pits when he won, and we're high-fiving there, all the whole pit crew and everybody. It was an amazing, amazing day.
Awesome.
Anyway, but like Pedro said, all we got for you today. We can talk about the
Yeah.
markets and day trading all day, but it is my birthday. Got stuff to do. Going out with the kiddos, and this is striking tonight to celebrate.
I got you. I'm going out with one of my foster boys today, so
Good.
he's waiting on me. He's doing good. He's making good decisions. You know how good it feels when like they start to make good decisions? Yes, you do.
I do.
Yeah,
It's
dude, it's like-
amazing. You're like,
yeah, you're like good. You're not blowing your money on like stupid things. You're actually like summer school, books. You're listening. Like when they call you like, okay, I need advice. I just got dumped. And you're like, all right, I'm here. What's up? It's like the best feeling. It's weird. I don't know how to put it into words except it's awesome to see them excel. I don't know how to. It's weird because I don't have kids, and he's like my kid.
but it's the
Even
same.
he's-
You got it. That's the feeling.
You just want them to excel, like
yeah,
nothing else.
You know, it's you get to a point like when the the phone rings and you see it, you're like, oh God, what happened? You know.
Yeah.
And then when it's not, and it's like, oh hey Dad, blah 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 blah. Hey, did you see blah blah? I'm like, oh, great, love it.
Yeah, you get proud of him. So I'm proud of him. Now he's got the other knucklehead to get his stuff together. You know, he will. He will.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing the music. That means one thing. That means it's the end of the show. It's Good Monday. Small crowd, but thanks to 1775 Coffee and Pedro and BlockbusterHealth.com. Appreciate the sponsorship of our various segments of the show. Helps out all the time. As Pedro says, it all adds up. Compound interest adds up. If you stack up your pennies every day, one day you're going to be able to walk up those stairs to the moon. It might be a lot of days, but eventually,
We'll get there.
eventually that'll happen. But as I always say, we'll be on the air tomorrow here, same bat channel, same bat time. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. Yes, it is my birthday, but still came here to entertain and educate you guys along with the man in the box next to me. That man is Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst and my partner in crime here at DYOR. We will see you tomorrow if I can find the right. There we go. All right, everyone,
There we
be
go.
there.